endlessly searching for an original sin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Hakuoki. I will never be able to say it, so I think we should go that way. Looks like we're going to war. There was no question I would go with Hiji and chase after the Ronin heading for Mount Tenyo. Despite Fushimi being quite the distance away, soldiers moved at a rapid pace. It was hard for me to keep up, and I was beginning to run short of breath when I saw someone. He was standing in front of us, shadows obscuring his face and clothes, cloaked in a strange aura. Hiji seemed to sense it too, and he motioned for his men to halt. The Shinsengumi stopped save for one man, who was either too excited or too foolish to heed the commander. And dead. Well, I saw a momentary flash of steel as the man yelped. The man just laid there unresponsive. I could see thick red blood already beginning to pool around him. Taken aback at first by the sudden attack, the men all turned now to glare at the stranger. They were already on edge, but the man's words only made the men more agitated. I had heard from the men that they had their reasons for wearing their uniforms. They wanted desperately to pay the strange man back for his taunts and for attacking their brother, but they knew now was no time for revenge. As he spoke, I felt the air begin to thicken with the rage of the Shinsengumi. Hiji's smile was anything but warm. He laughed at the sight of the man he had just slain. Hiji's teeth were now almost completely bared. I knew Okita wasn't weak at all, and I wanted to tell him so, but it was true that he had been injured. I heard the soft hiss of a Naga's sword sliding from its scabbard. At his feet lay a man who had been attacked, his face now an odd pale color. I wept for his spirit. What? Was he telling the truth? Then did Chaoshu men commit honorable suicide? I looked over to Hiji and the rest of his men, but not one of them looked surprised. The man in front of us was trying to stop the Shinsengumi in an attempt to protect the pride of the Chaoshu samurai, which is what had upset him. From his point of view, I could see why he felt right in what he was doing, but that gave him no right to kill someone just to prove a point. Is it really all right to take a man's life for the sake of someone else's pride? Only you can protect your own pride. Letting others control the value of something important to you will only hurt you later on. How can someone keep their pride? How can someone keep their pride they expect someone else to fight for it?
面白いことならば新選組が手柄を立てるためであれば他人の誇りを犯してもよいというのか
He did not sound amused. No, that's not really what I meant, but under the crimson glare of his voice, my voice trailed off.
偉そうに話し出すから何かと思えば戦いをなめんじゃねえぞこの甘ったれが
なんだと
The man spoke through clenched teeth, and the knuckles on his sword hand turned white.
身勝手な理由で喧嘩をふっかけたくせに討ち死にする覚悟もなく尻尾を巻いた連中が武士らしく綺麗に死ねるわけねえだろうが罪人は斬首刑で十分だおのずから腹を切る名誉なんざ御所に弓引いた逆賊には不要のもんだ
自ら戦いを仕掛けるからには殺される覚悟も済ませておけと言いたいのか
死ぬ覚悟もなしに戦を始めたんだそれこそ武士の風上にも置けねえな奴らに武士の誇りがあるんだ俺らも手を抜かねえのが最後の歯抜けだ
Hiji's own concepts of pride and honor was not something he would easily compromise. No matter how long he and the stranger spoke, I also knew that they would never see eye to eye. Hiji drew his sword from its scabbard, and I saw Naga drop into a fighting stance. Hiji's eyes narrowed, and after muttering something angry under his breath, Naga stepped back and put his blade back in its sheath.
で、お前も覚悟はできてるんだろうな。
口だけは達者らしいがまさか俺を殺せるとでも思っている
In an instant, their swords met, and the clang of metal reverberated through the mid-afternoon air. They sprang apart, eyes fixed on one another, and I saw Hiji's hands tighten on his sword. The commander's swordsmanship seemed without a true rival, but this man had defeated Okita. Hiji, I choose you. I saw Naga reach for his own sword. He was to leap into the fight as well, probably hoping to help Hiji gain the upper hand. When I saw him about to pounce, I couldn't help but scream. Not very honorable for 2-on-2. No, Naga, you can't! This fight wasn't why the Shinsengumi came here. Hiji's troops' mission was to follow the Chushu rebels to the mountains. There could be no doubt that the strange swordsman was an enemy, and a dangerous one. We might have needed our whole force to defeat him. Hiji, however, would never let us abandon our mission out of fear of losing, especially after his speech. Naga could see this mysterious man was quite powerful, and after a few moments spent grinding his teeth, he took his hand off his sword.
土方さんよ、この部隊の指揮権限、今だけ俺が預かっておくぜ。
言うじゃねえか。任せたぜ、新八。
The commander's eyes followed the swordsman, and his mouth curled into a predatory grin.
よし、いいかお前ら。今から天王山目指して全力疾走再開だ。
The soldiers roared in their accent.
貴様ら
おい、よそ見してんじゃねえよ。真剣勝負って言葉の意味も知らねえのか。
Hiji was in a fighting stance and put himself between the troops and the man to avoid escape.
邪魔をするな
He swung his sword and Hiji received it and was thrown back.
さ、なんてバカ力だ。
Since there was a distance between Hiji and himself, the man turned towards Naga. You give me save, I use save. My knees locked up, so I drew my Kadachi out of defense My swordsmanship won't be useful in battle, but I may be able to buy everyone time. I laid my hand on the handle of my sword. Next thing I knew, a high-pitched clang of metal clashed resoundingly, and I was on the floor. I was blindsided by the hit, and when my eyes were back into focus, I saw his blade pointed towards me, and blood trickled down my face.
度胸だけは褒めてやる。おい、自分で分かっているか。頬の傷が治りかけている。
This is... I slapped my cheek with my hand, but the cut had been sealed. The pain ceased, but the blood stopped flowing. His crimson eyes widened. What the
こ
fuck?
んなところで同胞に出会う。しかも女を。
I'm sorry, go back and explain demon what now? There are demons?
いえ、お前はどこのもの？
Before I could answer, a dull clang of metal rang above us as Hiji swung his sword from behind while the man parried it in front of me.
こいつから離れろ。
貴様、邪魔立てするな。
てめえの相手はこの俺なんだよ。それともそんなガキ相手じゃねえと刃も震えねえってのか。
言わせておけば、この幕府の犬が。
雪村、先に行け。
Okay. Suddenly, I was jolted with urgency and I started to dash away. Hiji was right behind me, but I don't think he saw the cut on my face. It'll be alright, I'm sure of it. Demon? One of us? Everything he said rattled inside my head, but all I could do was run straight for Mount Tenyo and never look back. It's almost nighttime. I was waiting at the base of Mount Tenyo. Naga led some men further up looking for the Chushu rebels, but a few were left at the bottom in case any other Chosho forces returned. I'd stayed with them.
大丈夫ですよ。そろそろ戻ってくると思います。
I know, but is Hiji safe? He must be. No sooner were the words out of my mouth than a shadow appeared in the dirt road in front of me. Ah! A shadow stopped towards us, into the light. Hiji! I felt tears spring in my eyes and shoved them away with the back of my hand.
ご無事でしたか、副長。怪我もないようで何よりです。
Shimada was right. Hiji was without a scratch, but even so, his expression was dark.
せめて人たち浴びせたかったんだが、途中で薩摩藩の横槍が入りやがった。
薩摩藩の横槍ですか。
ああ、奴は風間千景とか言ってた。薩摩の手の者らしい。
Chikagi Kazama, a very skilled man with apparent ties to the Satsuma domain. His extreme strength and prowess with swords rival that of even the best Shinsengumi swordsmen. But if he's part of the Satsuma domain, didn't they help the Aizu drive the Choshu out? Why did Kazama try to stop the Shinsengumi? I frowned. Something wasn't right. Does that mean he disobeyed orders? Kaza, I mean.
おそらくな。薩摩の連中も扱いかねているようだった。だいぶ迷惑してるようだが、風間には強く言えないらしい。
なるほど。その風間とやらは薩摩の中でも相当に優遇された立場があるのでしょう。
Maybe it's because of his he's powerful enough to hold off a man like Akita and Hiji, but there's something else to him that perplexes me. When Hiji spoke next, his voice was bitter.
奴は特権の上にあぐらをかいてるだけの甘ったれだわ。そんな奴に誇りだなんだと言われる筋合いはねえ。
Before Hiji could continue, we heard the sound of men approaching, and Naga appeared with a bulk of our detachment trailing behind him. Naga stopped for a split second when he saw Hiji, and then he creeped into a sly grin.
上に行って見てきたぜ。残念だが、長州の奴らは 残らず切腹して果ててた。
My heart fell as he explained. I wasn't sad that they killed themselves, or that the Shinsengumi hadn't been able to arrest them. Only that more lives have been lost.
自決か。敵ながら見事な死に様だな。
As he spoke, he flashed a half smile to Naga. But why? Only a few hours before, he said that they were criminals and only deserved to be beheaded, but now he's applauded them for taking their own lives? My question came out instinctively, as if my heart spoke for me rather than my head. He shrugged.
わからねえみてえだな。確かに新選組としては良くねえよ。奴らに目的を果たさせちまったんだからな。だがな、潔さを潔しと肯定するのに、敵も味方もねえんだよ。わかるか?
Oh, I suppose that makes some sense. It was obvious I didn't quite understand what he was trying to say. His expression softened a little.
お前ももう少し俺たちといれば、わかるようになるかもしれねえな。
Together once again, we returned to the Imperial Estate to meet up with the rest of the Shinsengumi. On the way back, Hijikata and the men began to discuss their next move. It looked like there was still plenty for the Shinsengumi to do in Kyoto. The Choshu extremists attempted an attack on the Imperial Estate eventually came back to be known as the Hamagura Rebellion. The Hamagura Rebellion, the incident wherein the forces of the Chushu domain fought the Shogunate and the Shinsengumi near Hamagura Gate to regain power in the government after they were expelled. Although the Shinsengumi were called to action, their efforts were stymied and they found little in the way of glory. Communication with their superiors were poor at best, and they spent much of the battle waiting with the reserves. When the Shinsengumi finally entered the battle, each man found several strange opponents awaiting him. Chika Kaza, who defeated Okita and Akita at Akita, claimed to be from the Satsuma domain during his encounter with Hiji. This one we missed. We didn't get to meet him. Ryuju Amagiri, a man who shattered Hei's head guard at Ikeda, also claimed membership in Satsuma. A highly skilled individual connected with the Satsuma domain, he specializes in bare-hand combat. He possesses power and skill above many members of the Shinsengumi. They had also met Kyo Shiranai, who fought alongside men from Chaoshu. Kyo, a man with incredible skill. He is connected to the Choshu domain. His gunplay is very impressive, and it takes the Shinsengumi by surprise. Whoever they were, it was clear they were not allies with the Shinsengumi. Indeed, it seemed they could easily become some of the greatest enemies. If they were to meet in battle, the casualties would be severe. By the time the battle was over, the commanders of the Choshu attack had been killed in the fighting, or took their own lives. There were some soldiers, however, who had escaped, setting Kyoto ablaze as they fled. By some terrible misfortune, winds that day blew from the north and fanned the flames, reducing the southern end of the imperial estate to ash. As a result of the Choshu attack, many imperial nationalists were executed. With the Hamagura rebellion over, the Chushu were branded as traitors for attacking the estate. For them, they were acknowledged enemies of the court. Enemies of the court, a traitor to the court, often used to refer to rebels. So that's where we're going to leave it. I know this is a shorter episode than normal, but I think this is a good ending place. So thank you guys for watching. You're all very awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. It looks like we have demons now, so something's going to be more interesting is going to start happening. Once again, thank you guys. Sorry I couldn't stream this. It's such a finicky little game. But let me know what other visual novels you guys want to see me play. be it mature or not mature. I do play others, as you can see. So thank you guys very much, and don't forget to check out the other channel and the Twitch channel. You guys are all awesome. Bye!